Yeah.
Okay, your camera's smaller.
Oh no.
Oh, and you've gone large.
I've gone
Yo
large. That's
guys,
what we
how's it going? Welcome to another Sentai Wrap Up. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did, because it definitely means that we've got a lot to talk about. Let me introduce you once again to my co-host here, Erlem. Say hi, Erlem. Give yourself an introduction, my dude.
Hello, my name is Ellen. I am the Sentai enthusiast. I know all about Sentai, and now you do too. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, hello. And what about you? You've got to give us, Bryn, you've got to give us a lovely introduction as well. Oh, I'm huge on the screen.
Yes, I am Henshin Asset, your asset to all things Henshin, and honestly, I don't have like a special introduction. I haven't quite figured that part out of myself, but
Just make something on the
just
fly.
awesome.
Make something on the fly.
Yeah, just awesome to talk about Toku while we're in live, talking to everyone here now. And today we're going to be talking about episode 4, which I think is probably like, set a nice sort of tone to what we're gonna have for the rest of the actual series. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
I really thoroughly enjoyed this episode way more than I enjoyed the other ones. What did you think of this episode so far, Alan?
Well, they let it down. They let me
Oh,
down.
really?
They let me down 100%. I could forgive last week with the misfiring of a bullet. I could understand that. Did we get that? No. We literally just got I know how to make them morph. That's it. Not a quick shoot off to one of the bad guys. And, I was let down. Sentai has let me down.
I was hoping that a lot of the things that we previously saw and pointed out were going to be recurring events, but obviously we're in. There we go. Okay, we're back.
Okay,
Okay, that was bad.
cool.
Don't do it again. Don't do it again. Don't have this with me. I just updated you. Don't do this to me.
Just got to update your router. That's it.
Okay, so in this episode, we're got the debut of our Zenkaiger room. Um, personally one of my favorite of the whole
Is
lot.
he?
I love the guy so much, and we'll go into that more as we go along. But through this episode, we had a debut of the boxing dimensions. The boxing kick-eye robot that we had to face against.
Yep.
But who just called Boxing World. Easy to remember.
Boxatron. Boxatron. I think that
Oh,
was
is it
his.
Boxytron? I thought they just called him
I don't
Box.
know.
I thought it was Boxing World. I was pretty sure they call him like Iljarud was just naming them as if they're from just naming them generically from the powers they use, and it's from Boxing World. So I was I'm certain it's just Boxing
I know.
World.
I know he's from Boxtopia.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, I know that a lot of the actual series has got that going at the moment, where
Yeah.
they're constantly, just having these different worlds. Very weirdly sort of profiled, aren't they? These places. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand them doing like a martial art world where it involved loads of different fighting styles and stuff like that. But specifically boxing, I have a hard time with that.
I think it's because everyone's talking about boxing, from YouTube boxing to Ranger boxing or MMA fighting. But I think boxing's like a huge thing. I think in Japan also, boxing is a huge. Oh, nice, nice that you got a drink there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I think boxing's a very big thing in Japan. So plus it kind of ties in with what goes on in the YouTube space where you've got like Jake Paul and all that boxing. So I kind of saw it like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. So let's move on to the actual contents of the episode. So we have obviously got, the regulars reappearing. We got Kaito, Majin, Gawon, and Duran all sort of like mingling as normal. I think this one is probably the better of the introductions because Vroom sort of has like it's not random. It's got a tie in with the villains and stuff like that, where the others just sort of like I know I'm gonna fight, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do like how they're sort of coming up with different ways for these characters to be introduced, and yeah, it's been really nice. I really like each reveal as the characters to come into it because usually you just get all of them in one go. We've talked about this before. You just have all 5 Rangers get their powers. Not really much story to it. Just everyone's story is the story they're showing. So to have this sort of episodic events where first you get Zenkaiger, and then you get Zenkaiger Gawon, and then you get Zenkai Majin, and then followed by Varun. I think this was a nicer way for Super Sentai to do these seasons rather than just, put all in one bunch and then do little stories here and there.
Mm.
What do you think to this episode compared to the other ones that we've had so far, Ellen?
I think this one literally gave us a lot more information. Like
Yeah.
I was watching the Raw, and I was going to review it like on the Sunday, but then I looked at it and went, "There's too much information to kind of assume what they were saying." So we got the backstory to how the gears are done, which then brought up another thing because I think it's hard to explain because they say like all different parallel Sentai worlds. But then there was like London, there was like other so basically they weren't just going for parallel worlds.
Yeah.
They got everything. So I didn't know if it was going to be something like in that particular thing there are other parallel worlds, but Sentai continues on being a canon type thing.
Yeah.
Don't know. Gonna have to look into it. I like the fact that Vron is very much like I need to know everything, although I can see that being goddamn annoying at some point. But apart from that, it was a good solid episode to kind of bring it in.
Yeah.
The boxing world was a bit of fun. Let me down, but I did like it a tiny bit. Like it felt like now we've got an entire team. So if they continue to do this in the future, I think that would be pretty kind of cool because it would show that you don't have to have the team completely at the beginning. You can introduce them and then keep everyone kind of like guessing.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think this season's probably less of a serious Sentai, but more of just a a joyous one. So pretty much like it's not like Shinkenger or maybe even like Ninja or anything like that. I mean, there is that fun element to them, but I think this show is probably a lot more like Kira Major than it is say Rue Soldier. I think the aesthetic of this one is a little bit more fun-loving, which is plain as day when you see the characters such as you got Kaito is quite a fun-loving, like free individual. Where in contrast, when you've had the Gokaigers, they're more of a serious. I think that's the best way to put it. Like they were more of a serious aesthetic. They had goofiness and humor involved, but I would say they're more of a serious Sentai out of the whole mix. So, what do you say about the appearance that they're going to have for this particular season? Like, what do you think of their flow, their aesthetic, their sort of quirks?
I kind of think that with the look of it, they look decent. Where I think at the very beginning, when you see them for the first time, you're instantly going, "Oh, they're going to look bad. It's going to be clunky. You know, how can you move?" Like Vrum, when you saw Vrum for the first time, he's a big boy at the top, so it's hard for him to kind of move and stuff. But they've worked it really well, where I think it is something really nice, and I think, in a way, it's a fresh of breath air that you've not just got Sentai actors like human actors. You've got these robots where, I think it flows, and the way that you've introduced the characters as well over time, it's not like, oh, here you go, by the way, they're all in episode 1. Like, they're there. Like, they're pretty much, you can see them. But they don't meet up till kind of later. So I feel that's nice, the aesthetic. With the silliness, I always think that, the next Sentai I reckon is going to be serious, because it always goes serious, silly, serious, silly, and then it kind of like rolls over quite a bit.
Yeah, I suppose in a way, in Lupin versus Pato, they kind of had seriousness primarily, but there was some silliness involved. I think more with Pato Ranger more than the other season. So yeah, I think there is that kind of pattern to it. As for this episode, though, I think the characters are all defined now. You've got Kaito, the sort of one that brings them all together, the sort of really loving personality. It just likes anything different. You've got Shuran, who's kind of like the like more mature of the group, and he tries to mingle with younger generations, and I think he's like a serious guy, but he's more like a fun-loving serious guy, if you know what I mean. So yeah, got him. Gowon just likes anything that's cute.
Yeah, and humans, and that's it.
Yeah, anything that's organic rather than metallic. So that's always one thing. Then you've got Majin, who is the sort of, well, I suppose she's more of like the heart of the team, really, because she's she's not really got anything in terms of quirkiness when she interacts. She's just sort of, like I said, that little sister. So I think that's her primary role. Obviously, with her powers being magic based, it's like she's more of an assist as well. So yeah, I think that's her general aesthetic. And then obviously now we've got Vroon in the mix, and he seems to be the one searching out knowledge. And I am so glad he was introduced, because as you said, we find out so much more about this particular season now that he's made his appearance. And also it's been confirmed as well, because obviously we saw the worlds being freed, but only Vroon was the one to confirm them. So, slowly things a bit getting on a bit. Oh, we got Jezza in the chat. Yo, Jezza.
Hello, Jezza.
Just dropping a line. Yo are the best. I can't wait to catch up on this Sentai. We can't wait for you to catch up on it too. Yeah, it is
only
a good
episode
Sentai.
4.
But
you got time.
Yeah, you've got time. Let's move on to the actual images now. We can look at the characters again and also talk about our favourite moments. Okay, so straight off the bat, we see just generally everyone in this image. We've got, I like how they're actually running the shop. That's the cool thing about it. Like, they're all got a place here. Obviously, that might just be scene reasons. Like, it's nice to see them all gathered like this. It's a lot different from when we was watching, because I've been trying to finally get through to watching Kira Major. I know it's bad. I'm like sort of skipping seasons of the way, but I am trying to catch up. So yeah, it's weird how they've got their own sort of like part off places that they go to, and then they meet up now and again. But in this season, it all seems to be, we're all going to be in the same place. This is our home, so don't worry about anything else. And it's a sweet shop as well. That's the weird thing about it. It's a sweet shop.
It's a cafe.
Yeah.
It's a cafe.
It's kind of a cafe, I suppose. It doesn't have a cafe vibe though. It's really, but I suppose that's a cultural thing. I do not know.
Mm.
It's honestly more of a home than it is a cafe to me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think
You're,
do you think that the Kikanoids go to sleep, or do you reckon that they stay up all night continuing to do stuff, where Kaito is now just upstairs sleeping?
I reckon they do sleep because of humans sleep to process information, so I imagine they do something similar. Like maybe they debug or something. So and besides, their world's version of organic, so I can imagine Kikinoid's doing that. But yeah, you don't really see. Oh yeah, Sek-chan's on the cupboard there. I like how he's got the sign posted outside saying we're still recruiting, but yeah, that's obviously going to go out the window when they, finally have the whole team now. So yeah, out of these characters that we've got so far, which one is your favourite?
I really like Majin, not because I fancy her. No, I quite like Majin quite a lot. I like Jiren as well because I imagine Jiren's one of the type of people that you can go and have a drink with. So it's like a very do you want to go and be like, yeah, I'm always up for a drink. I hate Guion. I absolutely hate him.
Really, I like him.
I don't. There's something about him that I don't like. Majin is just Bay. I can't wait for. I want them to bring out more merchandise because I know what Japan's like.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to the next image. So obviously we're seeing the team all together here. So yeah, it's nice how they have this sort of like team dynamic, but it's good thing. It's kind of like they're focusing a bit too much on the red.
Yeah.
Like you got the only one that sort of differs really is Gowon, and then obviously we'll have Rune into the mix. So yeah, it's an odd Sentai in a way because you've got red repeated in 3 different ways. You've got it on Zenkaiger, then you've got Juran, and then even though Majin is actually pink, it is a shade of red. So
yeah.
But yeah, what do you think of the team put together now?
I think they work. Like, I don't think there's an explanation that you can give. Like, I think because there are so many different people. Like with Gokaiger, each character was exactly the same. Yeah. Where that they were. Then Kirimija probably had the same. Same thing as like with other series, but this one it seems like they're all misfits a bit.
Yeah.
So it turns out doesn't know, she knows how to use magic in a form, but she's starting to learn it. Garand's the type of I don't care, where Joran's like, yeah, let's go party. And then Vrun's going to be the person that's always going to be at the he's always going to be at the library. I reckon that's where he's going to live for a while.
Yeah.
But that's how I kind of see it. Like, they're all misfits, but they're all brought together, which I quite like.
I wouldn't say they're misfits. I'd say they're more like in-betweeners. People of the UK probably get that reference. Yeah. But they definitely seem
God damn it, Jay.
They definitely seem like they can easily mingle with everyone else, but at the same time, they're still apart from them. Like, they don't quite click with everyone else, so they're sort of segregated into their own section. But, maybe that's just due to events, so we have to wait and see. So in this particular one, we don't really see much of the villains. We only see Ildrude, and obviously we got a nice image here of our villain for this particular episode. So what do you think of Boxing World?
I didn't really mind him. I already saw him in the toy advert that they did, and I thought originally he was just made for the toy advert. Toy adverts, but I don't know really if I liked him because he's the generic type. I only focus on one thing. Let's bring it in all together, and that's it. So he bad. I just think default villain. Will I miss him? No. Will he be back at some point? Possibly. That's it.
Yeah, he's definitely for an episode rather than a serial. That's for certain.
Yeah, he's gonna pop back later on for a cup of tea.
I don't think he has a nice design though, because usually when you have tall-headed villains, it doesn't quite look quite right. It just looks weird. But the way they've got the bell and the talent at the top, I quite like it. But let's move on to the actual episode itself now. First image here we've got of during the time when they find out that Vroon knows too much. Ilgiru does not like
Mm.
that, and I don't blame him because it makes a lot of sense that they've gone, no, 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 you know too much. We don't want this to get out there. We don't want the other Kikinoids kicking up a fuss and overthrowing and
Mm.
all kinds of things and give too much support to the Zenkaiger. So you're gonna get scrapped. But I do.
Yeah.
What did you think about this particular event in this episode? What did you like most about it?
I think it's laid foundations for another story. It's laid foundations where I can obviously see it in, like, say, near the end of the episode where the main bad guy turns around and goes like, where, why are these worlds, why, where have they all gone? And Rude goes, oh, I don't know. And Vrun's like, well, we've been defeating them and they've been opening up. And they'll be like, what? He goes, why didn't you tell me, Rude? And be like, oh, I didn't know, Master. I'm so sorry. And then gets absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think it's more of a long play setup. To be fair, the whole thing of getting rid of him, I would do the exact same thing. Be like, oh, does anyone know this? No, I'm the only one. Well, let's keep it that way. And then that's it. So I
Yeah.
think that it's going to play up. What about you? What did you think of the scene?
I think this particular scene was quite hilarious, just because how it was sort of it weren't executed seriously. It was like, oh no, he's gonna get scrapped, and he's just hanging on for dear life with these with the henchmen sort of trying to attack him. I thought, I liked that little scene. I know it wasn't supposed to be serious, but it was a nice little prelude into what is to come next.
Yeah.
So, because of the effect of Boxing World, we had people randomly getting boxing gloves and starting to punch the hell out of everyone. Now, although I think that's still a bit weird, my favourite part has got to be when the bride and groom are suddenly caught into a boxing match. I thought, I was like, oh, that changes things.
I know.
It's a bit cliche though, isn't it? What do you think, Aaron?
I generally thought it was one of the things where they put in. I think because they show every single sort of side to the old man, to these guys fighting, and I think it's meant to say, hey, look, nothing's been affected. So I think that they had to put it in. It'd been cool if they actually were going to be married, like he was an actual minister or something, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, whatever. But yeah, I liked it. I quite like she won. And it was kind of interesting. Now, obviously, the spell's worn off.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going to happen when they go back together and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey, that I smacked you in the face. Oopsie. Yeah, let's get married still.
Yeah, it's a very odd occurrence, but yeah, quite a humorous one. So, I think the particular way that Vroon actually enters the scene is probably one of the best out of all of them. But I'm trying not to be biased, but honestly, Vroon's my favourite character out of all of them. You thought so? I honestly didn't expect him to be my favourite. I thought either Kaito or maybe even Gowon would be my favourite characters. But no, Vroon for me has stolen the spotlight. I just like all of his characteristics. The humour involved in his opening scene where not only is he just sort of comedically trying to evade getting attacked and scrapped, but also how he's still also curious as he's noticing all these things around him. What did you think of this little introduction and entrance that he had?
I liked it. I think it was a comical thing. It did make me kind of go, huh, type thing when he was running in. I wish that this could have been the thing where he grabbed one of the Gatlingers and then shot him by accident. And then I'd be like, that's fine. You've saved yourself today, Sentai. But I generally liked it. It was more a thing that he realized what they were when he saw the gears, rather than be like, oh, you're just a generic hero type thing. So it's like, boom, we see that you've got the powers. I'm interested to know what you're doing. I've got so many questions for you. And then he asks the questions. And everyone's just like, stop it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for him to see his introduction. The only thing I'm thinking was a little bit meh is how Majin and the others never really picked up on the point that the last episode had the premonition of someone with those specific glasses being coming to them. There was never really an awareness of that moment. It wasn't, it's you, or anything like that. I think that's the only thing that I I felt was left out in this particular episode and also in this particular scene.
I'd completely forgotten about that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I
So
guess
there
it
we
wasn't
go.
a very memorable moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironically, so did the people that wrote this particular episode.
Classes in Ball, episode 4, Vroon Joys. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, he just comes in. No one does it.
No one even bats an eye. Okay, so yeah, in this particular scene when they're running away with Vroon because he's just being attacked, I like how he kind of also stopped the transformation. Like there wasn't any fight taking place; it was more about getting Vroon safe, which I thought was nice because it seemed like they were making smart decisions about prioritizing. And since obviously Il Giroud was trying to destroy Vroon, it made complete sense to me that they will go, well, actually, instead of defeating you, this guy's more important. So see you later.
Yeah.
So what did you think to his particular predicament, and also it would be worth asking whether or not you like the way he sort of really likes his information and going for books. I thought it was a really nice moment as he was like, they happen to go into a library, which is the perfect place for him because he really loves his knowledge, and just seeing him being so happy as he's going, oh, books. I thought, and also it wasn't even like, sorry, I keep adding on to it, but I think it's not really nice how it's not just a character it's based on, oh, I really love books, therefore that's the only thing I can get for information. It's just information in general. Any source he can get it from, he enjoys. So, with all that, what did you think, Erlem?
I think it's going to be a great advantage, and I think it's going to be a giant weakness, because I feel like because he wants to learn a lot, you could turn around and say, well, if you come with me, I can give you the secrets to the city of Atlantis. And he'd be like, oh my God, I need to learn. I need to know. And that would be it, to the point where I think that if, say, for example, there's a book monster, and we know there's going to be a book monster at some point, that Rum will like kind of defend him because of knowledge is that. So I think you've got kind of a big weakness. I like the fact that he wants to learn. So obviously it's more like, it could be a thing where if you like reading and you like Run, then you need to go to the library and pick up your book and make sure you get yourself a lovely membership card, and then do it from that way. So I think that there is going to be a big thing and a bad thing. It is kind of fitting that they put him into a library because obviously he likes knowledge. But I think that maybe he was going to be like, I don't want to be dragged away from all these books. And it's like, you've got 2 crazy women after you that want to box the shit out of you. So I'm sorry. You're like,
I honestly think though that's kind of an asset in a way because it then forces newer fans of Super Sentai to use him as a way to get information, like when Sek-chan, I mean obviously Sek-chan is the one to tell when a team comes up, but he also asks questions that most fans of a younger generation may not necessarily know. So I think he's a good sort of hook for that sort of information. Do you agree with that, Erlen?
I would say yeah. I would go with that. I would go with that.
Also, anyone who's watching are also welcome to comment about all of the stuff we've talked so far. It'd be great to hear all your opinions and also finding out exactly what you think is your favourite episode, particular moment in this episode. But
let's get the chat going. Come on, guys, let's get the chat going.
There we go. So to do it, so I like the explanation because here we got the moment where finally everything is revealed so far to the actual team members. So, finally getting a breather after escaping the fighters once more. Because basically, it's not even henchmen that are chasing them, isn't it? That's one thing that I thought was nice, a bit different from this, is that he used his powers. I'm speaking of course, boxing world, just like causing him to attack. I can't believe I didn't think of that. That's actually probably a good little thing to talk about. How El Giroud said, well, actually, don't worry about just causing random fights and stuff like that. Send all of the people that you've got under your control to go after Vroon, because he's a problem.
Yeah. I think you're going to find that he's going to be the main target for a lot of these stuff, because at any point, if Valdarun turns around and like wants to be like, oh crap, I've got stuff like he knows too much. Vroon can easily turn around and go, well, do you know that this happened? You know, this happened, and then it puts him in danger. So I think that you can see most of the attacks that will go towards him more than, like, say, the others.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think finally having this information sort of put forward to the rest of the team and having things confirmed is one of the best points about not only this episode but what Rune can bring actually to this particular Sentai. So yeah, I think it's a real benefit to have him on the team, because I think he's going to be the one that always comes up generally with not only the questions but the answers to a lot of things that the other team members, have yet to sort of put forward. Okay, let's move on to our next one. I'm going through these quite quickly. So this moment, I think, was a bit of a disappointment to you, if I'm not correct, Erlem, where instead of the usual, what we assumed would be accidental shooting occurring each time we get an introduction, but instead it kind of shows more of Rune's character, if anything. But what did you think of this particular way he found out how to Zenkai change?
I generally thought that that you were going to have that one. It felt like if all the others did it, because even if on his vast knowledge, he still wouldn't know what it is. So the only way that I kind of put it down is that there were humans in the way. So it would be one of those things, if he shot it, he could hit one of the people. And that's the only way I could justify it.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that it could have hit like the main bad guy, or it could have hit Eldarune and then hit him. And and made him go like, "Oh, I'm angry now, and I'm going to make sure I'm after you all the time."
Yeah.
And I think that would have been the thing. Like, I like the whole thing that they did type in. They kept the same thing. It's like, how do you use this? And they all gathered around and showed him. I like that they've kept that in, because it's been a way forward. I think it's just that shot, because I think it would have been, why would you have 3 characters that shoot off? Even imagine like if she shoots the other way. Why would you have that sort of joke in? Why wouldn't you keep it? It's not like it's going to be oopsie. It's a thing. So if I ever meet Toye, I'm going to sit him down with a cup of tea and be like, look, Rune needed to shoot at this person. Why didn't you do it?
Yeah, I think it is a shame they missed that, but I agree with you. I think the fact that there were actually people around was probably a bit of a risky... I mean, in terms of design-wise, probably was a risky thing to have in this. In terms of what they've already set up and kind of done, it would have been nice to see that little thing happen. But, I think it was a little bit iffy during the last episode that Majin almost shot herself. But it's fine. We can move past that. But I do think introduction, explanation of being able to change into a ranger is quite nice to see, because we've so long it's just been, I happen to know how to do it. There's also been loads of different explanations for that, but as I've probably stated before, it's interesting how Zenkaiger has done the whole explaining how to change to each of these characters at the same time as this possibly happening in Power Rangers, where Dino Fury is doing the exact same thing, where they've shown that they had to learn it and get in sync with everyone else. So I think that's a really good particular scene to talk about. Okay, so debuting we have our Zenkai Rune, who, because I'm so biased, is one of my favourites. Like the design,
really?
the detailing, I love it. It's
who's your favorite?
I love all the robots. The only one I didn't quite like the look of the most out of these 4 is just Majin, but that's because of it wasn't a mask area like the other 3. So having the detailing of like a proper sort of like engine-based Sentai all over this guy is just it just looks perfect. It looks so detail orientated. It really comes out nicely live as well, and it's just one of my favorite designs so far. What did you think of Zenkai Room?
I quite like it. I still think he looks more like Astro Megaship or something from Magi Ranger. I was very interested to see how he would move because again, he's really clunky. So obviously, like they've made it to the point where they've probably got rid of stuff on the elbow, so he can get in a lot closer.
Yeah.
Um, I could see him getting quite addicted to the power because of the way that he acted straight away. He was like, "I'm rushing in. I don't care. What is this?" And he's still asking questions all the way through, which I think is going. I think again will be a thing later on where there'll be a choice, and he'll ask something, and he won't be concentrating, and something will happen. I can see that sort of like slipping in and like near the end of the season or something, or midway.
I have a different opinion to that because of the fact that where he's been thirsty for knowledge for so long, trying to work with Ilgerud, I reckon working at being with Kaito and the others in that shop, I reckon he's going to be reading books all the time. I mean, he's cleaning, obviously, like that's one of his quirks because of his job, which is nice to see. He's still they're still reusing that, but yeah, I think he's going to tone down a bit because I think imagine you've been hungry for so long and you finally get to eat, you're just taking it all in. But then for him, he's just tried to get information and he's struggled for ages, but now he's actually given access to information now. So you have all these books and all this stuff to, consume. So he might not be that bad, and he might tone down, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, which one of these Rangers so far is your favourite, both design wise and also, just out of them? Majin. Well, even
Majin.
like the whole design of her as well, like
It's basically it's like I think she's cute. That's the whole thing. I know it's weird. I also saw the voice actress, so I'm even more invested in this character. I just like her design. I think that if you took away the mouth, it would be even better.
Yeah, I agree.
But I like her design. Again, my second favorite one is definitely Jiren because I like that design as well. But with Majin, it's that innocence type thing where you could turn, but the fiery passion as well. So like you take the piss out of her, what she doesn't like, and then she like magic, and she'd be like "Grrr!" type thing. And I like that sort of switch type in her. But I think she's also one of the most powerful ones on that entire team. That she could solo most things because she's got magic.
She's definitely using that very reserved, isn't she? But yeah. No, sorry, you continue. I just wanted to add that in.
yeah. Majin is my favorite one. I'm just wanting someone at Toy just to release all the merchandise, like tons of it. I'd be like, I might have to buy that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is though. I like all of these Rangers together and stuff, but Zenkaiger still stands out a bit out of sorts of the others. So for me personally, the next sort of reveals I would like to see is more Kikinoids becoming Sentai. They're representing each of these Sentais as a particular Kikinoid Ranger. I really want to see more of that because with Kaito on his own as Zenkaiger, obviously it's still early days, so we're not getting much of him yet. But I just feel like it won't be a complete set until we get more Kikinoids involved and more of these Rangers. So yeah, I'm hoping there's going to be more of that. What are you kind of hoping to see as the next debut?
Well, we know what the next one is. It's the pirate one.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that we might get that one next. That's the thing. So
if it goes with characters, if it goes with like in a team, he will be the next Ranger to sign up and be with them. Because for the main focus, I think this entire series, as we all know, it's Megazords.
Yeah.
That's the main thing because if it's Megazords, that's the main focus. So not unless we get introduced to kind of more characters along the way, or we get like a whole backstory, I think that the next big thing is you're going to see Kaito's parents. So effectively, maybe they could come along and be like, we're going to be we're Zenkaigers as well, but we've got a different design. Or you could find out that they're helping the villains because they're kidnapped. But either way, I think basically we're going to see quite a bit. as I rock everything on my table. Yeah, and I think the next, if it's a ranger, I think it's going to be whichever Gokai one it's going to be. Like, I don't know, what would his name be? Like, what name would you give him?
Yeah, good question actually. I don't know. I'll put top of my head because it wouldn't be like Zenkaiger as we already exist. Maybe it'll be something like Zenkai Captain.
Yeah. I would like him to be called Gok.
Gok.
That's it, just Gok.
Yeah. Okay. So, seeing the full team all together, this is the kind of the image we wanted to see. Really, they do kind of work really well together. It's odd, obviously, with Zenkaiser being that sort of, big one design, but I do think it works. I think having a complete team is showing exactly what the designers had in mind. What do you think of the complete team?
Yeah. I like the team. I think it's always nice seeing the entire core team together, where you're not going to be out and about. It's like boom, there they are. It feels like together that this is it. Like there's no one more that they form the friends and bonds and stuff like that, and that is it. So it kind of makes up for it. Like even if it was just say Kaito and Juren for at least another 10 episodes on their own, I would have been happy with that because I think the characters kind of work. So seeing a full team, it's quite nice. How about you? How do you feel about them?
I reckon these are probably the most detailed Rangers I've ever seen. I think it might just be the mecha sort of element to them. But when you think about stuff like Tokuja, where they've basically got some nice detailing on the helmet, and their bodysuits were quite basic. This team is the complete opposite. It's got detail on helmet, detail on body, and even Zenkaiser himself, even though he's not a Kikanoid, he's a Kikai Ranger sort of thing. He does have such a lot of design elements all over him. So you've got the multi-colors, you've got that shield on him, and even the belt is great. It's great. Oh, I've just seen.
So
sorry, just so noticed. Got Thomas Franco in the chat. Hi, Thomas. Good to see you, my dude. Sorry, Aaron.
So here's a question for you. So you said earlier that you weren't quite sure about it. The design. Is it because each one has got a mecha design, like off the Zords, that Zenkaiger doesn't? So obviously he's the only human in this team. Is that what might make you go, oh, I'm not a bit wary of it? Is it just the human outfit and the fact that he doesn't look like the others?
I mean, I suppose that is the kind of thing to it, but they don't. But like I said, where they've got the detail elements to him, it's not that as bad. And he's got quite a lot of ring designs on his arms, I've noticed too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He loves that Sonic.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if they do have. I mean, I'm guessing the Gokaija like, what's the phrase I'm looking for? The one that represents Gokaija is going to be a lot more like Zenkaiser than the others. But still, I do hope that they're going to have some more like Kikai Rangers being put into this series, because you've got like two generic types at the moment. You've got the animal-looking ones, and you've got the sort of like, I mean, the like bioengine sort of ones that we've got Majin and Vroom. So having a lot more in that collection would be really awesome to see.
I can imagine he looks like Navi. That's it. Oh, please let him look like Navi.
Right.
So C-Chan's like, oh my god, you look like me.
With the fight sequence, my favourite part has got to be, I didn't expect this. I mean, you can imagine it from the robots, but I did not expect Vroom to be separating his half like that. Yeah. What did you think to this scene?
I generally kind of thought that was a bit weird. Like it's going to be that one thing that we never see again. It's like, this is what I can do, but I'm never doing it ever again, even if I need to do it. So I kind of liked it. Like it felt out of place. Like, I think what could happen is in another episode he does that and someone just grabs his legs and runs off, and then it'd be like, my poor legs, where are my legs gone? And you're like, oh, God damn it, Vroom, why did you separate? I was helping. You took your goddamn legs.
I kind of like the balance it has on him, because he's definitely a bigger build of a ranger compared to the others, because that's just generally to the wheel designs on his arms and whatnot. So what did you think of his the actual fact that not only is he separating, but the way he sort of moves and the motion he has and the abilities he has?
I think he's the tank of the group. So I think that he's going to be a bit like, say, Juggernaut from X-Men, where he has that memento. So once he gets memento running, if he hits you, you're going to feel it. It's not going to be like a warm tickle from a breeze. It's going to be oh my God, here's a dump truck, and it's just hit me. So I feel like that's going to be a thing. But I do think that maybe we see this for maybe 1 or 2 episodes, or this is the only one where we never see it ever again. And it doesn't really bother me. I think maybe it's just like a special ability, because in theory, like, they've all got their own stuff. You know, you've got Joran with the sword and shield, Guion with the claw, Majin with the magic, and obviously Kaito with his annoying attitude. I don't know what he's got that's different. But maybe his like plucky go-getting way. That's all I can think of.
I hope he uses those lights on his body though. That'd be great to see. But yeah, I'm glad we got to see all the individual weapons as well. I thought there would be more like unlocks, but I suppose since they're part of the actual suits themselves, and when they transform, they're actually part of it. You can understand why they come with the whole thing in the first place. But I do think he definitely stands out the most to me, because he is the mecha of mechas. He is a machine-based ranger, and for this particular season, that definitely makes him stand out more than the others. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we had the appearance of another Ranger gear, and we had the, I believe it was the Die Rangers gear used in this particular scene. What did you think of the use of this, the staffs? I mean, these are the exact same staffs they had in Die Ranger, but what did you think of that being the power that represents them?
I knew, I had an instant thought it was going to be that sort of thing. My favorite part when they use it is when the Blue Ranger's like, huh, oh, that way, where the others run towards them. I love that. I that made me laugh, because it's one of the different like type of moves. So I think it's when using the staff, like we've seen it in Zenkaiger, where it's like their main attack is, we'll use our weapons against you, so make a circle so you can't escape. And just literally Kaito using dirty tactics, where he just hits him in the lower regions. I was like,
you say that, but I watched Die Ranger, and that actually is something that happens quite often in that particular Sentai. There's very low shots involved in that show. But yeah, I think it was quite funny how it sort of appeared. Like the Rangers run into them and then doing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I like it. So I think we're going to see some abilities coming up where, obviously it's the weapons that they're going to be using. So where, I think, was it the first one, we saw the fact that Kaito could fly using Zuoja. Then obviously you had Jiren using, is it Ninja? And then obviously, so I think what you can see is they're just going to use weapons. And I think that's going to be the main thing, that that's what the whole premise is, which is going to be good, because it just means that, there's a clip or a picture of Kaito using the rear soldier sword. So I think that's the unlocking power. Get the gear, put it in, get the weapon, use it to do whatever.
Let's move on to the next thing, which is the debut of Zenkaiger in his vehicle form, in his Zord form. Now, what did you think of this one? Because I love the detail in this one, as you can probably tell. So I want to know.
Really?
I really like it.
Tell.
As a toy, I was probably not the most fond of this one. Just because it didn't look quite right. But in the show, it looks aesthetically pleasing in every way.
Does it make you want to go and buy a dump truck?
It is. There's, like I said, because it's a machine, it is like the Zord that stands out most to me. What did you think of Zenkaiger as in his Zord form?
It just looks like a truck. That's it. I kept thinking, like, Bob the Builder, can he fix it? And I think it's interesting. I see him being the hot-headedness, and I think like you saw it when he transformed. He's like, I'm going after these people, like they have done me wrong. I'm so angry, and I think that's the main thing that is gonna go for it. So I still prefer Majin in hers because she looks really good as a dragon. I'm just throwing it out there, but he's okay. How did you? I mean, he's not your favorite character. So what did you think of this dump truck of his?
The only thing I would say is that although it looks really great and it looks brilliant in the show, I don't like how they've attached the weapon of his just on the top. It doesn't do a world of good for the actual look of the vehicle. Like I feel like it could have been a better part on this.
Yeah.
Like maybe even like headlights that go on the back or something of that sort of in that sort of way. But I suppose it is supposed to be. I'm guessing it's supposed to be able to fire and stuff on in this show as well as he's in that vehicle form. But yeah, I think it's also weird how he's like chomping. It kind of reminds me of the Zord within. Sorry, I keep saying Zord, but it reminds me of Bear RV in yeah, you know, what I'm talking about.
I literally thought, is he going to name Bear RV?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I was getting from that. It doesn't seem to do it often. I think it's just like, one of those things that just sort of happens now and again. It's just showing his movement. But yeah.
Sell the toys.
Okay, let's go on to the actual mecha formation. So now we actually have Zenkaiger, Majin, Vroon making an appearance. Oh, I just got to say hello to Jalen. Thanks for joining us, my dude. It's good to see you here. But yeah, what did you think of the new combination that we've got now available?
I liked it. I think that's going to be the main one. I think obviously they had like in this one they had to show off what you can do with the toys because the second that this episode aired, up went the toy advert. So I think it was more kind of a look at these two combinations, look at this combination, see what it was with it, and I think that kind of worked. Why? Now I kind of wish because I wish that they had a bit more of a feminine face because obviously it looks like a really buff guy. Or someone's really annoyed. So I kind of thought that because of you've got the combination, like the faces would be a bit more feminine. But I'm guessing if you had like another female joining the team, that would be the case. Yeah. I like the fact that it's thing. I don't like the pickaxe, but again, Mecha Bokanger, you can see it.
I thought it was when I first saw it, and I saw the way it's going to be in the toys. I thought it was going to be more like a ranged weapon because it looked like they were trying to use it like a crossbow, but I guess I was wrong.
It's not bad figure.
Yeah,
it's not bad mecha.
Now I forgot to take the picture of it, but there was a moment where if you look at the leg on Vroon's side, you could still see his head. I thought that was a very odd moment in this particular for this particular mecha. But I do like how not only the wings are supposed to be used in this particular formation whenever Majin is used, but the actual wheels have a purpose. Like it's kind of used like skates. Like to get and it increases the movement. So yeah, what do you think of these mecha and or as Rangers know it as power these Megazords as a whole?
Yeah. I'm like the look of it is good. I don't like the fact that because everything is color coded, like the fact that he's got the training wheels. It's like when you look at the feet, it goes blue and then blue on pink or blue on yellow. I didn't like that. That's the one thing that I think that really kind of got me to the point where it's like, you could remove it and it doesn't matter. Like it could stay on one side.
Yeah.
Because it just messes up the color, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I think I would have preferred it to be either it doesn't combine on, and it's something else.
Yeah.
Or it just stays on his side and that's it.
Yeah. I think the way they've sort of combined together is they're kind of archetypes, aren't they? So the way they unfold out and stuff like that shows how they're more alike than each other. But I agree with you. I think the best combinations are actually Majin and Juran and Gowon and Vroon. Simply because of not only not only because of their appearance, but also because of their abilities. Because Juran makes sense to have wings because you've got that maneuverability and abilities. and it works for them. But with Galwan and Rune, that's a killer combination because you've not only got a sort of wild aspect to it, but you've got that speed aspect too. So being able to have that speed along with the ability, along with the wild aesthetic, and being able to attack quickly, it just makes sense for me.
I think it's also color, because yellow and blue works really well together, where pink and red kind of work well together at the same time. So when you see it, you go like, oh, I kind of really like that. So like if I have mine on display, and they don't live in a box, it probably would be the combinations would be the other way around.
Yeah,
that's right. I leave mine in the box, not on display.
well, yeah, dusting won't be so much of a problem. Okay, so
I know, right?
finally we got the last image of that we want to talk about in terms of favorite moments. Do let us know in the chat if you've got favorite moments and stuff that you would like to announce to us, because we really like to see them. But here we finally get an idea about where Kaito's parents actually are, both the professors. Now, I kind of saw this coming. What did you think of this particular moment, Erlem?
I think it's something that you see anyway. I think it is literally if they've got parallel worlds, then it is a thing where they're going to be part of it. So I wasn't kind of like, oh my god, that's what's happening with this one.
Yeah.
It does make me want. I want to see more. So in the next episode, I want them to talk about it a bit more. Like, so were my parents, but don't give me everything straight away. I want to be kind of. I want to like know more about it. So you're like, oh, I can't remember. I can't think of the words to get it out. Episode 15. Oh yeah, now I remember that one thing that's just rebooted my memory. That's what I kind of want to see.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't do it, they'll probably tell us all in the next episode, and I'll be like, okay, cool, thanks. What did you think? What do you want from this scene?
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense how the gears and stuff, because even Varun noticed it. It's similar technology to what Ilgerud uses in order to create, in order to capture all these different dimensions. So to have the technology familiar to the Zenkai gear and items that they use, now finally as everything's connected, they must have found a way to, grab the technology from Idgerud and use their own gear to be able to combat it. And also, it probably explains why they were able to be prepared, because they found a way to actually prepare their dimension so that it wouldn't suffer the same fate as everyone else. And I bet they had something to do with why Kicker World was merged with this last one. I reckon they had something to do with it, because as he said, they're the people that are actually in the lab that Ilgerud runs. What did you think of the sort of revelation that all of these things seem to be connected?
If they don't throw a spanner in there, I will be massively annoyed. Like, it is the perfect thing to throw a spanner that gets stuck in the cogs and they can't figure out why. If they don't, I'll be very disappointed. But from like the whole people in the thing, I can see that they've seen it. Maybe they don't know it's bad, and then all of a sudden they see that it's bad and such, and boom, it's right there. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I think we'll just kind of see what goes on with it.
I suppose we'll have to wait and see.
Also, I think you should read the last message in the chat.
I like imagine. We know Erlem.
I know.
Okay, let's get on to rating this episode. So, obviously, before we've rated episodes 1 and 2 as 4 gears. Well, however you want to do your ratings. I'd like to say gears because it's not stars, it's gears. We use gears as our visuals. So, out of 5, 4 for 1 and 2, and for episode 3, we said 3. So, what do you rate this episode, Erlem?
4 and 5 spanners.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so a 4.5 maybe. I think it has a lot of premise. I think it's just what lets it down for me is just the comedy in a way, because it was a perfect thing to do the blast thing going. I think that's what I know. It's a little thing, but I think it just dropped it a tiny bit. I like the explanation. I like the fact that we actually got more action, and it wasn't all done on a green screen room. So I
Yeah.
do like I like where they were going. So I'm hoping that it kind of keeps memento. I like that we got backstory. So I think 4.5. I think isn't too bad. It's not a 5, but it will do.
Mm.
What
Well,
about you?
I think that I'm gonna go ahead and round this up to a 5 because I think it
Oh,
has all the elements that I think makes this a perfect episode. You've got the debuts, you've got characters being defined here. You've got a little bit of humor. You've got nice action, perfect scenes, as you said, and even like the Zords, the appearances, seeing the whole team together, having the different mecha combinations, and just having. I mean, it may not have been anything new enemy-wise, but there was a lot of story, and it focused on that so well that I think it definitely deserves 5 stars.
mm,
So I think this is a 5 star
a
episode.
5.
A
A
5 gear
5.
episode, should I say? Sorry.
5 gears.
And the first 5 of the season so far.
Yeah.
I would like to know everyone else's. If you agree with us, do let us know. If you don't, tell us your rating. But yeah, I suppose the only other thing outstanding we should talk about really is 2 things. One, I don't think we've actually seen any release of the mini-series episodes where we see a little spoiler, Zenkai Red.
Oh no.
But also, I don't know if you're aware, Ellen, but someone posted online some little shots of the magazine recently, and soon, like how we've seen Red Gears used by Zenkai Red, such with specific teams being used, like the I believe in that particular mini-series episode, Zenkaiser used the Lupin Ranger gear,
Yeah.
and Zenkai Red used the um,
Pato
Ranger gear. Thank you. Mind block. So yeah, that the Pato Ranger gear was entirely red, whereas the regular ones are gold. What this particular magazine showed is that we've got purple gears coming out with different teams included as well. So whether those are
Nice.
linked to a ranger, which I believe is the case, because there is rumors going around that we not only be getting a gold Gokaiger Zenkai Ranger, but also a purple one, because there should be 2 appearing. So it'd be interesting to see what that's
Oh,
going to
2.
be. So yeah, it makes the most sense. Like they're giving that away that they're showing off purple gears. So maybe we'll get a Zenkai purple. Maybe we'll actually get a ranger that represents a particular season. We'll just have to wait and see what comes up. What do you think of that? What did you think of that, Erlen?
I knew about ages ago, like months and months ago. I knew there was going to be a Gokai one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I mean, looking up the Zenkai things like the images. I reckon this is the magazine that I'm going to get sometime next April.
All right.
Because I kind of like bought it. So like the purple gears is going to be interesting. It's interesting because in this whole thing is if this is an episode, is that they meet the Sentai teams.
Ooh.
But I don't know if it's from the film because you have.
I think it's in the film
like
they have it, but I don't know if that's the case with the mini-series episodes.
Oh, the miniseries was only 2 episodes, and then you saw the red gears, and then you got the purple gears. Hopefully, like, because it looks like we've got a load of Megazords coming up, which is going to be absolutely amazing. And they've only got 1 shot of Gokai Gold, and that's it. So I think that's going to be interesting. I don't know which episode he's coming in, so it could be roughly around about maybe 15 or something like that. But I didn't know there was a second one. That's really interesting.
So, yeah.
But
just to go through it quickly, the particular rangers that are on these purple gears include Zhu Ranger, Gal Ranger, Aka Ranger from Go Rangers. I believe there's. I think these are actually the main team being put in this one.
Yeah, they'll be the same.
So Magi Ranger, Bokenja, and then we have, I believe it's 5-man. I think that's Bioman, and I don't know about that one actually. I think that might be Turbo Ranger. I'm not too sure, or Jetman.
It's got here Go Ranger, Flashman, Maskman, Fiveman, Jew Ranger, Magi Ranger, Bokanger, Gal Ranger, and I think that's it so
Oh,
far.
okay. I guess I knew I'd get
I'm
them
just
wrong. Oh
looking
wait,
at
yeah, the
yeah.
oh, that might be Cure Ranger actually. That's a bit. Yeah, no, I think that's Cure Ranger actually. Never mind. I knew I'd get him wrong, but it's good to double check.
I, it's magazine scans, so they're so small. I just looked at one giant picture. I was like, okay,
Yeah. Well,
but I can't remember their names.
yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything for this particular episode today. So I thank you all those who have been watching with us. Where can they find you on social media, Ellen?
You can find me on Ellum on pretty much everything, bar Twitter, which is at Mainstream Live. Fuck you, goddamn person who stole it. Goddamn.
And you can find me on at Henshin Asset on both Twitter and Instagram. So, yeah, this was a great episode. I hope we can see you all next time for episode 5. So, see you next time, my dudes. Bye.
Bye. Bye.